You can never know too much about sourcing, and today we talk to a sourcing expert who's living in China since 2013, taught himself how to source, and now owns easypeasysourcing.com. His name is Nils Oldörp, and we'll be asking him his best practices, what went wrong, what went right, and what you can learn from to increase your sales by sourcing more products to sell on Amazon. This is the My Amazon Guy podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Pope, founder of the agency My Amazon Guy. Tune in each week to learn how to grow your Amazon sales. All right, welcome to the My Amazon Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me, Nils.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm super happy that you have me. Thank you for taking the time, and I'm super excited and pumped for this.
So sourcing is a very complicated subject, and it's something we all struggle with, and anybody that sells on Amazon needs to know something about sourcing. So we're going to talk about your story today and kind of your background and story. So let's jump in there. So you currently are living in China. How did you get there?
I got here in 2013. I wanted to do an internship. So I was planning to stay here for like 3 months, 6 months maximum. And that's kind of 7 years now. So I missed the boat on that one. And now I'm still here. And I started as an intern. I wanted to do just to kind of complete the school because I wanted to go to university. Like that was my goal. I wanted to, go the traditional route. Back then I didn't know anything about business. Back then I didn't even know that, you could actually just start a business. So you need a lot of funding. I knew a lot of like 40, 50, 60-year-old people that, started a business, and I didn't know that you could even do that in your 20s. So that wasn't even on my mind, right? And then the guy I was working for, he was a German as well, and he has a factory in China. So I was working in that factory, kind of in the office, and I never imagined myself being there because my background is I'm a carpenter, right? I build furniture, I like hands-on stuff. I could never imagine to like sit in an office actually. But then when I was there, the first 6 months were cool. Then he hired me as a sales guy. We did a little bit of that. He sent me to Vietnam for a year, went to Mexico, and then back to China and worked for him. And that was all kind of cool until I realized it's still like corporate and the kind of day-to-day set in.
So when you went to Mexico and Vietnam, like sourcing there as well?
No, that was we were selling supplements. So we were importing supplements from Germany and selling them in Asia.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. So what kept you in China? Like, so you start learning, and then you had an exit plan, and then it kind of extended.
First off, it was just the first idea was just the internship. But then when the guy hired me, he was smart, right? So he hired me as like a manager. So I had like 2 people under me, and I was 19, 20 years old at that time. So for me as a manager, where all my friends are still in school, I felt like I'm
You're on top of the world there.
So that was cool for me. So, I can climb the corporate ladder and I can get some shares in the company. And like, that was the original plan or the original idea.
So that's great. You learned a lot about that. And by the way, selling supplements, I think, is the hardest category on Amazon. So props to you for trying to navigate those waters, especially with the fact that all the laws are different in each country. I'm sure that was a lot to navigate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you have so many health regulations. I think we took a year to just be able to be allowed to sell in China. Everyone thinks, well, China is unregulated and you can do whatever you want, and it's just the opposite. Like, there's so many regulations. It's so hard to actually make this work, and I'm really protective of that things. And yeah, that's kind of how my journey started.
So all right, so let's dive into sourcing then. How would you describe your experience as you started to learn how to source? Like, what people love failures. People love when things don't go right? Like, they like to learn from that. So like, what did you start to do and how did it fail? Because everybody fails.
Right. So I'll just take it back just one step, if you don't mind. From that, when I was working that job, eventually I realized, I was commuting to work an hour and back, and I was in the metro, and there were millions of other people. At least I felt like a million other people. And you're just standing there in the car. It just started to feel real bad. I hated it. I hated to get up. I got late for work.
Everybody can relate to this. Yeah,
right. I was the first one to clock out, and it just didn't feel right. So, and then when I was in Vietnam, I meet this guy, and he's 30 years old, and he's retired. I'm like, come on, like, how is that possible? So I thought he has rich parents or whatever, but it turned out he had his own business, and then he just took the money from the business, bought real estate, and just living off that, which was kind of cool. And that was my eye opener on how, that this is even possible. Like, he's a 30-year-old guy and he's retired. Like, there's something else.
Somebody figured something out, and you're like, how do I do that?
Correct. I wanted to do that. And back then, that was 5 years ago. So that was just when Amazon just started, like when it just became
Got big.
popular,
Yeah.
to be yeah, people started selling, right? Back then, you put something on and it sold. At least that was kind of the idea. That was, I think Jungle Scout was just out. And it was like the very, very, very beginning of Amazon. And so I thought, well, it's so easy, right? I had one or two guys that were doing Amazon podcasts back then. And it seems so easy. Like you just put your product up and Amazon is just selling everything for you. That's cool.
Right.
I'm going to do that. So I quit right away.
Oh, wow. You just like without any plan, you just like quit to start working on it?
Yeah, I had about $7,000 saved. And I was like, look, that should do it, right? So I'm just going to buy some products and slap them up, and probably next year I can be a millionaire, right? That was
Passive
the
income,
idea.
right? Like it just starts.
So easy. Yes. Everyone speaks about it. Man, it's so easy. You just put it up and Amazon does everything for you. And, of course, I believe, because now I just met the guy and I was like, okay, like he did something and he was also starting on Amazon. I was like, well, maybe there's something to it. So he also moved back to China. So I met him in Vietnam. He moved back to China, and we're kind of like, we lived nearby. So we met up sometimes, and he was a real smart guy and taught me a lot of the beginnings of Amazon. But it didn't really turn out that way. So I started it up and basically lost all my money. So it was through the sourcing process, and this is really what I want to get to why it was so hard for me. I didn't even get to the platform. Like I saw it takes a month. You go on Alibaba. I'm in China. Come on, it just can't take long to get a sample, right? And within a month or two, I should be up and selling, right? I should have my product sourced and can ship it, and we're good. And it just wasn't that way, right? So I was reaching out to suppliers with 5 questions. They were only sending me back one, right? I was
You're too small. I don't want to work with you. Yeah.
I ordered a sample, and what I got back was just completely different. Like it was not the right quality, it was not the right thing. And I spent I wanted to have something custom, of course. I wanted to have something with my own logo, and I wanted to make changes. But I only ordered 1,000 units back then. And that was so tricky and hard to get. So that after 3 months, I found someone, and they worked with me, and they were willing to. They gave me a price that was like, it was okay. And then after 3 months, when I wanted to ship it, they said, oh, by the way, we made a mistake. So the price needs to go up. We quoted you the wrong thing, and the price doubled. And I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford that. So I was like, okay, then I need to order half the units. And like, oh, we can't do that. We have an MOQ. Right. So maybe you need to find a different supplier. So I spent 3 months of that. I basically blew all the savings that I had on my living expenses, because smart me quit my job. Right. So who needs a job? I hate my job, but somehow the income stops as well, right? So once that stopped, I was in trouble, right? I couldn't pay my bills. I was only able to ship half of the goods because I ran out of money. I didn't have enough money to ship everything. I just shipped half of the products. Eventually, once I got it later, but we'll get to that, how I actually managed that.
Well, walk me through that then. So like, what was the first item you tried to source?
We had silicone popsicles, so ice popsicles, like little silicone molds that you can fill with whatever sweet drink, and freeze it, and then kind of squeeze it out, and that were your popsicles, right? That was my very first product, and I wanted to have my logo on it. I had a different, it came with a stand, but I wanted to have a different stand, and to kind of stand out. And that was the first thing.
Yeah.
So I reached out.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
So I reached out to my friend, and I asked him, I was like, man, I have this problem. Like, I can't source my products after 3 months. I can't get it. And he's like, well, why don't you use a sourcing agent? Like, why don't you use someone? Here's someone I know. Her name is Nancy. Just go with her. Just message her, see if she can help you. And in the beginning, I was like, look, I don't have enough money to buy the product. How can I pay for someone to do the work, right? He's like, well, just hit her up, try it, right? Give it a try. So I did. I messaged Nancy. I kind of explained her the situation. She was chatting with me, and for the first time, like, she answered all my questions. That was the first, like, I sent her
answers?
I sent her
Yeah.
Yes, all the answers, all the time. She actually gave me a call, and she was like, okay, let's speak about that. And when I told her the things that I want to do, she's like, well, don't do that. Like, don't do the logo, don't do this.
Brown box it. Yeah, make it basic. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Because she just knew from the sourcing process. She already had a supplier on hand. And what took me 3 months when I did it myself to get the final quotes and the samples that I wanted, it took her 3 days to get me quotes and another 4 days to have samples. So within 1 week, I had the product. It took me 3 months every day of going back and forth with Alibaba. And then I worked with her for a week, and we're done. Like, I got the quotes. I got the sample. Her quotes were better, right? So she
You saved
charged me a
money and
percentage.
you went faster. That's like your perfect outcome.
Right. So that kind of opened my eyes to this. I was like, man, why do I do this myself? And because I was studying everything. It's like, what are the Incoterms, and how what kind of shipping do I need, and what does FOB mean, and what does X work, and F, and like all of this stuff I was learning, and I hated learning that. So when you hate learning something, you're not really good at learning that. Right? So that
It's
was kind of my
like
my
battling a
situation.
chaos monster. Yeah, it's not
Right.
not a fun dragon to slay, no doubt.
Right.
So that was a good experience. What happened next?
What happened next is we continued working together. The first product failed. I didn't make any money on it. I basically lost all the money. I still have half of the product somewhere in some warehouse in China. I don't even know.
plan
And
plan to ever do anything with it or just destroy it? Yeah.
no, it's gone.
Yeah.
And also like
Go ahead.
silicone products on Amazon. I'm not sure. Like this is it's anyway.
There's too many Me Too silicone products at this point. There's no doubt about that. I too have a failed product. My sweet heat monster hot sauce I have in the back there, just to remind me that even experts can get it wrong. And for me, it was logistics that did me in. Just shipping 5-pound bottles, and then Amazon would put them in freaking envelopes instead of boxes. I could not believe how incompetent logistics is with Amazon still.
Yeah, there's just something like that. I mean, from there, now we're doing well, right? So I have a Chinese partner in my business, and eventually, after 2 years or so of trying and selling these products, I found my own sourcing company and made a little bit money with that to kind of support my living costs and help other people actually source these products and try. Because now I had Nancy, right? I was like, okay, I just forwarded all the projects to Nancy. And now we're at a level where this recent Prime Day we sold about 4,300 units or so that day.
Congratulations.
So now I think we're good, but that was more than in the first 2 years combined. So I just want to make people aware of that. Like, even if you struggle, even if the first product doesn't perform the way you want it, and you're not a millionaire overnight, like it doesn't matter. You can get to 7 figures nonetheless. We're doing multiple of those on Amazon, off Amazon. It just took a lot of time, a lot more time to get there, but it's worth it eventually.
So it does take some perseverance, and it does take some paying of your taxes, so to speak. And so you figured out that knowledge has a value, right? Like that knowledge helps you go from point A to point B. So let's share some of that knowledge with our group. What did you learn along the way?
Right. So along the way, just when it comes to sourcing, along the way there were a million lessons, right? Even if you work with an agent, you really have to find a reliable one. So when I had my sourcing agency and I just started out, and I got some clients in the door and some people that we helped actually source, I needed another agent. So I just went on Upwork and on Fiverr, and I was like, I just need an agent. Like, an agent is an agent, right? So I got another agent, and it just didn't work out that way. It was just this. It was the same way as it's been before with the factories. Like, it was the same problems that you have, the same issues that you're facing, the same people not coming back to you. And also because, like, it's a different culture. You don't understand the culture. I didn't understand the culture. Even being in China, I'm here 7 years. I speak Chinese. I still don't get the culture sometimes. You know what I mean?
It can be difficult. It seems like the culture is very penny pinching. Like, if they can save a penny on your manufacturer run, even if it's got a high risk, they'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think it depends though. Like, I think when the mentality is more, for example, there's a coffee shop I like to go to. Sometimes I take my laptop and I want to go do some work, right? So I go down and I'm like, hey, do you guys got Wi-Fi? You have Wi-Fi, right? Yeah, we have Wi-Fi. So I sit down, I order some food, order coffee. The food is coming. So what's the Wi-Fi password? Oh, the Wi-Fi doesn't work today. I said, what do you mean? I just asked you, do you have Wi-Fi? Yeah, we have Wi-Fi. Does it work? No. So that's the mentality.
Very
I didn't.
specific.
Yeah, it was my mistake though. I just didn't ask the right questions. So instead of me asking, hey, can I use your Wi-Fi? I asked, I was stupid. It's my mistake. I asked them, do you have Wi-Fi? Yeah, we have. Like, we have a router there in the corner. Just doesn't work,
That's
and
a really good cultural explanation. I like that.
Yeah, this is the mentality. The next mentality I have is there is a fish market. I go with my girlfriend. She's Chinese. We go to the fish market, and she goes alone, and she gets whatever cabbage, whatever she buys. Cabbage, even though it's a fish market, they sell cabbage as well. Anyway, so she buys a piece of cabbage, let's say $1, right? I go with her. the cabbage is $2. So we asked the sellers, like, why is the price up now? Oh, because you're a foreigner, you're rich, right? So that's the he was very honest, right? Which is I appreciate that, but this is kind of the mentality. So this is one of the things that if you go on Alibaba and if you try this directly and people know that you don't have experience, you're not going to get the best prices. Also, you cannot distinguish, is this a manufacturer or is this a trading company? The trading companies buy from the manufacturers and then they resell the products. Obviously, they need to have a margin on that, and that's how they make the money. But to be honest, if you work directly with a manufacturer, they don't, like, if you order 1,000 units, they don't care if it's $1 more or $1 less for the product. They don't care. It's not like at that amount, this is the price. You buy some units, you go with them, you grow with them. You have, later on, once you're good, once you're selling, then you can go and negotiate. Then you can get better prices. Then you can get better payment terms. Then you can get better terms in general. You might be able to get a credit in that. You might be able to pay them 60 days after you ordered. So I think a lot of people focus directly on the price. Oh, I need to find a supplier right now with the best price, right? But this is not necessarily like the supplier.
Pretty short term.
We work with manufacturers. They do $3 billion a year. If you order 1,000 units, whether you pay $5,000 or 4,800, it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like for them, it's a waste of time, right? Like it's a resource allocation. So this is a question I've been wondering, and maybe you know the answer to it. So for every 100 people that go buy that 1,000 MOQ, how many of them go back for that second order, do you think? And
I know.
Go ahead.
I know, because we sourced about 1,000 products last year, right? And we have about 10% of people that go back and reorder.
And so that's exactly what's going through their minds. There's a 10% chance that you're going to be doing business in month 3 with these guys, and you're trying to negotiate $1 for $200 difference, and they're like, this is not worth my time, right? Like that's what's going through their minds, I imagine.
That's correct. So my recommendation was just start. You want to sell the product for $20 and you want to buy it for $5, great. Once you have those numbers later on, perfect. But if you need to start by buying with $8 and selling for 16 just to validate and just see if it works, if you can move inventory, well, then just do that. Expect that for the first 1 to 3 orders, you're not going to get much of a profit in that, and that's fine. Just go with that. Try it. Once you move numbers, once you have the quantity, once you're selling, then it's so much easier to get to the 5. Then you can get back to the manufacturer. Then you can talk to them, and then you can have an agent who can help you with that. Like, I would never source anything myself in China. I'm in China. I never contact any factories. Like, you need to have someone that does this for you. There's just so much headache that is unnecessary, because you don't want to become a sourcing expert, right? Like, right. I'm okay knowing.
I'm a marketer. I'm not an operations guy. And so I too don't do my own sourcing. Although I have been to China. I went to the big expo, right? Like I've talked to the manufacturers. And to be honest, I felt like I left with more questions than I came with, right? So, and you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. So I know when it comes to sourcing, I know the terms, I know how to talk to suppliers, I know how to negotiate it, how to find out if they're manufacturers or trading companies. I know these things, but it's just I became a sourcing expert because I'm running a sourcing company. If anyone else wants to sell products, well, you probably don't want to become an expert, right? You don't. There are some things you don't need to learn. You need to focus on Amazon, focus on your products, focus on making listing, focus on ranking, focus on all of these kind of things. Because though it still works, competition is coming in, especially from China. We're here in Shenzhen, which is the neighbor city of Hong Kong, kind of 2-hour drive from Guangzhou, where the Canton Fair is. And this is like the Silicon Valley of. Yeah, it's like the Silicon Valley of China. So all the big tech companies here, Huawei is here. All the phone manufacturers, like all the tech is happening in this city. And also this is a city that has most Amazon sellers in the world. So the Chinese factories are selling
the US
directly.
Competition's coming from these days.
Yeah.
Like I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Are there a lot of manufacturers going direct to consumer nowadays?
People get it. So Jungle Scout is doing a lot of marketing in China, for example. Like, people know about it, and before there are these booms where in China we have a platform called Taobao, which is like the Chinese eBay, right? And when Taobao just launched, it was also a boom. Like everyone, you just put your product up and it was selling, and the platform kind of did the marketing and everything for you. And the same thing is now with Amazon. These factories, they have a very different understanding and a very different mindset when it comes to selling products online. They are very new to B2C business. What they know is 5 to 10% margins selling big volumes and making money maybe after you sold the guy. Maybe you work with a guy for 10 years and eventually you start making a profit. You work with a guy for 1 year and eventually you make a profit. That's their mindset. That's where they come from. Okay, just from a mindset. We little guys, we go in Amazon. We're like, okay, if I can break even for the first 3 months, maybe that's fine, right? But a lot of times they go in with mindset and say, well, if I only lose money for 2 years and I don't lose more than $1 million, I'm good. There's a very different mindset to that.
That is very different. Interesting. How are they coming with that mentality though? Like what do you think is the precipice for that?
I think they are used to a lot of hard, tough competition. And one of the things that they go with is price, right? So the one thing that speaks for them is, hey, I can make the product. I can sell it cheaper than everyone else. And that's how they go into it. So everyone who goes into it as a Chinese company, they look at this not as I want to be one of the people selling, I want to be the best seller. We have the same mentality. We go in with that. We have all the products that we have are best sellers. And we have a whole team. We have 6 girls that do nothing else every day but giving products away, making sure we're ranking, and like full-time team that does these things. And everyone likes to go for these real high volume products. So this is one thing that is good for you, because you probably don't want to go there anyway, right? You probably don't want to sell products that we do between 300 and 500 units a day on a normal day. You probably don't want to go there anyway, because it costs you so much money to get the products, buy the products, cash flow. Like there's a lot more to that. So that's one good thing. Right?
All right, so let's shift the conversation a little bit. So I like to separate products into 2 camps. You can give me your take on this if you'd like. The Me Too lookalike products, where you're going to co-opt demand. Everybody understands those ones, I think. Then there's the other category where it's like, hey, I'm gonna patent this sucker. I'm gonna come out and solve a problem nobody ever solved before, and I'm gonna create demand. So very, very 2 different strategies here. What's your take on how I'm defining that? And is there still a way to like create demand these days, or do you think people are better off co-opting still?
So because we're selling from China and we have a Chinese team with a Chinese mentality, we opt personally for the Me Too products. That's where we go. We just look what has high demand, good profit margins. We know how to become a bestseller eventually, and we have the funding behind it, right? But then there's the complete opposite, like you say, for saying, okay, I want to differentiate myself. I want to have something unique. I want to have something branded, maybe changed it, maybe have different, not only the packaging, but maybe change something on the product. And I think that is eventually the way to go, though that might not be the way to start. Like, I think that should be the aim, to build your brand, to differentiate yourself, to offer something else, to just think out of the box a little bit, to offer maybe when you sell the product, you get a free digital, like let's say you sell a cooking item, maybe you get a free digital cookbook, or you have something that just differentiates you and gets your value up, right? That's what you want to focus on. But when you just start out, just like have that in mind and go there. But I always recommend to just, like, you want to have something more simple that you can actually do, because I see so many people that have these great ideas and these branded things, and they want to patent stuff, and they want to have their brand registration, all of that done, which is great eventually. But a lot of people don't even start because of that. So a lot of people try to make the product, try to get it, and after 6 months they still don't have the product, and then it becomes really hard. So there are so many other opportunities.
The financial loss from not getting started makes perfect sense. One of my favorite marketing philosophies to say is, my default marketing philosophy, even, something is better than nothing.
Right.
So it sounds like you're living that.
100%. And you can really go from there, because if you start with one product and it doesn't work, well, maybe there's another opportunity that's even better after that. And because of the experience you have from the first one, you can transfer that to the second one. As long as you don't just blindly spend PPC money and don't look at any numbers, it is actually not not that easy to lose all the money, right? Let's say you put $5,000 in and you buy products and you ship them over and you have them there. Well, you still own that inventory, you still hold that. In worst case, you just drop the price to break even and you slowly sell it out, right? It's just about time. But then that might force you to find other ways, right? That might force you to say, okay, now I have these products on Amazon and I can't make them work via Amazon. What are other ways that I can sell them and then fulfill them from Amazon, right? So that can be an eye opener as well.
We always try and push people to go on eBay, Walmart, Etsy, Shopify, you name it. It's good to diversify. Let's go back to the new item picking, because I think this is a great area for you to offer tremendous amounts of expertise. So you mentioned you still do the Me Too thing, which makes sense. It's kind of what I would have predicted. But how do you pick the new items these days, right? Like if you're looking for a Me Too product, you want to be the best, and somebody who's already got 1,000 reviews there, where do you start with that kind of mentality?
Yeah, we don't care about the reviews. If it has 1,000 reviews, our products have thousands of reviews. Like eventually, we know we can get there. It's not. We know it's not overnight. We know it's not like it might take a year or two, to get to that spot. And that's okay. That's just what it takes to be there, right? But we pick these based on basically two things. One is demand, and then the other one is the product size. What in the future? What are our lead times on the product? Can we control this? Do we have a supplier that is nearby that we can build a relationship with and visit? What are the what do the profit margins look like? Like I say, lead times, all of these things, that is what we look at. We really look at profit margins of the product versus demand. And we try to find a sweet spot within that. We don't care about competition. We just want to crush it. Like that's kind of our way to do this.
So the way you guys crush the competition is by ignoring them in some sense, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we pay it. Yes, kind of ignoring that they're there. We pay attention and see kind of who is ranking for in which subcategories, and what are they doing to get their bestseller batch in their categories. We definitely pay attention to that. But just one of the things that we really focus on is giveaways. So this is. The thing is, and I'm just open and honest with that. I think there are sort of black hat methods, if you will, which Amazon doesn't like. Amazon don't want you to give products away. We don't give products away for reviews. We never do that. We never ask for a review. But what we do is that every day we basically give products away for people, and then we refund them with PayPal, just so that they buy for the full price. Yeah, through a keyword.
So I would say that's the current best practice for external traffic pushes. I would agree with you there. We don't focus on that ourselves just because it's really complicated to keep up with all the changing metrics, but we have a lot of clients that do it. Still works for sure. I'm not sure how long it will work for, but it's still working currently. The two-step process and keyword stuffing of URLs seems to have diminished in the past year. And we're kind of monitoring it kind of from a distance, but okay. So back to the new product stuff. I'm always wondering, like, hey, what item should I go pay attention to? Or is there a way to get onto the newest trend before it gets too big? Right. So like,
great question.
Find the fidget spinner before it becomes fidgeted. You know what I mean? Like, that's an interesting example for its own right. And face masks might be the fidget spinner of the year, but, like, is there a place to learn about new and upcoming product that you've been able to tap into?
Yeah, for one of the places is the Canton Fair. Before COVID, that was always a place to go where 6 months before the product was out, like the fidget spinners were on the fair before they were public, like before they were popular, right? So 6 months before, you could already buy them on the fair in China. You could see them, and kind of everyone was making them, yet they were not out in the marketplace yet. But you knew something was coming. Personally,
so the market's still driven by the fair, you think? Or at least it was in the past?
Yeah, at least the fair is the result of what the market is doing, right? There are some design agencies who create a product, who create a design, and then or license it to a couple of manufacturers, or one manufacturer is doing it and everyone is copying it. The Chinese market is always first. The Chinese market sets the trend. So something happens in China, a manufacturer in China does something for the domestic market. There's a huge domestic market in China, and that works well. Lots of people jump on the bandwagon. Copyrights aren't really a thing, right? So one manufacturer does something that works, you're going to have a lot of people jumping on that. You're going to have a lot of people producing that. And then obviously all of those people are going to be displaying those things at the fair. This is kind of the where the trends usually come from. So it's really it's shifted so much. Like, it's not the US setting trends anymore. It's really the Chinese market giving a trend. That's for the trend products. My personal preference on that is, I always say, look, if you are looking for, everyone asks themselves, well, what product should I sell? That's the first question that comes into people's mind, right? What product should I sell?
Fastest way to grow sales, sell more products.
Right. So the problem with what product should I sell is that there are 200 million products out there that you could sell.
Like, where do I start? Yeah.
Right. Now, let's say, what if, crazy idea, what if you stop being selfish and thinking about what product can I make the most money from? But what if you actually think about, who do I want to serve? Who is the customer that I like to serve with my product? Amazon can be a stepping stone. Amazon can be a start, something to build your own brand out of, right? Well, what if you think, well, I'm a triathlete. What if I sell to triathletes? Because I know already what they want, right? And then you're looking, you're looking into running things and running gear and accessories and biking stuff and swimming things. Like, there's so many things that you can look at that you know from your own experience that you need. It's always easiest to sell to yourself, right? Well, then you just narrowed it down. Now you're looking at 200 products. So you look in that market. Well, what 200 products? You just look through those, right? Because if not, you're just fishing around. And I feel as great as all the softwares are that kind of give you, that kind of suck data out of the whole platform, these platforms don't have all of the data, right? So they're updating and they're constantly pulling new product data in. Now, when that product data is in, it shows up on the platform and everyone sees it. Everyone puts in the same criteria. So that's another thing I would love to go over. Everyone puts in the same criteria. Oh, it should fit in a shoebox, electronic, not breakable, blah, 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 blah. The same criteria that have been made up 5 years ago when the Amazon market was completely different. Everyone types in these criteria. You have the software spitting out products. The new product shows up. 10 people jump on it because, like, oh man, this is great. I should source that. No one else is selling this. There's great demand on this. I should sell this, without knowing how many other people are sourcing this right now. 3 months later, you launch in the marketplace.
All of a sudden, everybody's in the market. Competition's up. Makes perfect sense.
Right. So I just like to go with more common sense. Like, what is something that works for my market? What is something that I can source and I can sell? And then I can grow from there. That's kind of the idea for me.
This advice really resonates with me because I'm overloaded with data these days, and I think most people are, but everybody's looking at the data. I talked to a guy, last month, and he was going to source these green things that were a dental product of some kind. And I said, well, why did I asked him some questions like, are you a dentist? He's like, no. Do you have bad teeth? And he's like, no. Do you use this product? No. And I was like, why'd you pick this product then? And he's like, well, that's what Helium 10 said to do, or that's what Jungle Scout said to do. So this really, really resonates with me. And quite frankly, I think it behooves people to stick to what they know, because they can market, they can write the copy, they can understand what needs to be in the title and the bullet points and the type of photo that needs to be taken, or, make that one adjustment to the product to better serve the niche. And your selfish versus serve brand comments also resonated as well. So I like both of those.
Right, because it becomes so much easier later on. Sorry to cut you off. If you want to have, let's say you want to get off the platform, right? You start working with influencers to promote your product. You start, like, there's so many things that you could do eventually, and strategies that you can have to drive more traffic to Amazon. Don't do Facebook ads to Amazon. That doesn't work. You cannot make those numbers work. But anyway,
we've struggled with that too.
There's no way. Like, it's just we sell a lot on Shopify, and we sell a lot of products off Amazon, basically our brands that we build off the platform. It's really hard to make that work without having an Amazon fee. Okay, now right, so that is that's just my take on that. There are other ways to do that. We can go into that or not. We can go into that the next time as well. So this is how you secure a second interview. But anyway, this is kind of there are so many things that you can do. So if you already understand your market, if you understand your customer, it becomes so much easier. It becomes so much easier to attract more people. It becomes so much easier to sell more people. It becomes so much easier to place ads, to work with other people that can help you to create more value in your niche. if you actually really understand what you're doing there, and you're focused towards the people. We go so far, we call our customers. Like when someone buys, we call them. It's like, hey, you just bought our thing. How do you like it? Like we always try to just, reach out to them and just get a feedback from the marketplace.
Amazon banned that a couple of years ago. Don't do that one on Amazon, but Shopify.
No, on Amazon, don't do that on Amazon.
Yeah. Just had to put that out there. All right, let me ask you a quick geography question, then I'm going to let you pick where we go from there. So you have been to Vietnam and you're in China, so you've kind of seen the areas grow a little bit. I've heard that Vietnam is like what China was in the 90s, and it's starting to produce and manufacturing starting there. Do you have any take on that? What are you seeing?
Yeah, 100%. We could do a whole other 2-hour thing about that.
Yeah.
But I'll try to give it. Yeah, I'll try. So I haven't been in China in the 90s, but I know a lot of people who have been and who are still here, and the change is drastic. So if I just look out of the window, I see about 10 skyscrapers that were not here 5 years ago. If I look further out of the window, I see hundreds that haven't been here 20 years ago. Okay, so this is just kind of the visual thing, what you see, right? The other thing that has completely shifted here is mentality and people. So how people think, how people purchase. People people know. Like, it's not, everyone thinks, oh, in China everything is banned and people don't know anything. People know, and people like to buy, and the luxury brands, you see, like, I see more BMWs here and Maybachs than in Germany. Like, people are aware, right? So the market shifted to that the consumer.
Is it like the middle class that kind of grew in China? Is that why, or?
It's okay. Look, 30 years ago, the city where I'm at was not here. It didn't exist.
So now we have magically built a city in I got it.
17 million people in 30 years.
Wow.
So the whole city, the whole infrastructure, everything is modern. We don't pay with cash. Like, I haven't touched cash in 2 years. We don't use cash anymore. We pay everything with WeChat. We do everything via barcodes. The beggars in the street, they don't have coins. Like, they don't have a bucket or a hat.
Wow.
They have a QR code hanging around their neck that you scan to send them money. Like, this is the difference, right? So, but just to come back, but for like China and Vietnam, right? So I think that Vietnam is still not on that rate. I think, yes, things are shifting. You see companies like Nike going from China to Vietnam to produce there, obviously taking care of labor costs that are significantly lower than in China. This is also a thing that grew, right? It's not necessarily just the middle class. It's just everything, all the salaries raise, right? From the lower class as well. And then people who owned property, the government buys the property and builds a new skyscraper. These people get millions, right? People always think, oh, the Chinese government is building something and everyone has to leave the area. Yeah, but everyone's the freaking millionaire after that, right? So It's not like it's not like just for context. But I don't think Vietnam is yet on the standard. I think Vietnam has, when it comes to mentality, I told you the story about the coffee shop. I told you the story about, like, it's a lot more of that in Vietnam.
Got it.
A lot more.
So the infrastructure is not there yet. The skill set is kind of building. So resources are a lot of it different. Makes perfect sense. All right. So let's shift. You can take it from here. Where do you want to go? Where do you think you can add the most value? Talk about that.
I think I can add value for getting off the platform. That's something I always like. So for people that launch the product, and I don't mean go away from Amazon. I just mean, like, you have a product up there and it just doesn't sell. Like, you made the research, you made it through the phase, you actually made to source your product, which is like 90% of people fail at that stage, right? So congratulations, you did it.
Right.
You actually have the product in Amazon. Great. You made some sales perhaps, but maybe it's just not yet working out. Maybe you're just not ranked enough. Maybe you don't know what keywords to look for. First of all, yes, it's knowledge and you need to know a few things. Second of all, it's a very big temptation to just blow all your money on pay-per-click and say, oh, I just need to spend more money for this keyword, and then eventually I'm going to rank for it. The problem that I personally had with that is when I had my second product, I don't remember, but I had it up. I think it was a beard comb for like a wooden beard thing to, even though I didn't have beard back then, I didn't even grow a beard. But anyway, I had this product, and I said, okay, I have the main keyword. I want to rank for that. And I just put pay-per-click money on it. I thought eventually when I spend enough, I'm going to be at the point where I'm ranked, right? So I went from page 100 to page 50 to page 20, 10, 7, 5, 4. I ran out of money. And I couldn't get to 1. right? So I ran out of money. The credit card couldn't be charged, and the ranking dropped again, 7, 10, 20, 50, and I wasn't gone. So all the efforts, all the money spent never reached the critical mass where you actually at the point where it sells by itself,
Right. Which
So
is what we all aspire to, but easier said than done. So you're getting
correct.
to some secret sauce. So let's hear it.
Correct. So let's say you're that person, okay? And then you look out and you're like, okay, how do I, if I can't make it work within Amazon, how do I get people to my Amazon listing? Well, maybe I can place Facebook ads, right? People start researching how to get people to your listing of Amazon. The first thing that pops up, oh, just do Facebook ads. Look, we have this cool return on investment. We have a 5x return on investment on our ads. Yeah, cool. That doesn't mean you make any money. Like 5x with that is not enough because there's so much to it that like it's so hard as a beginner to spot what works and what doesn't work. And I'm just another dude here sitting talking about this. I could be right, I could be wrong, right? So everyone has their own strategy, and eventually you have to make up your own mind about that, right? The way that we do this is we basically have influencers, meaning people that speak about the product. So for example, let's say you're selling something in the music industry and you're selling like a wireless thing for your guitar, right? Well, now if you would go out and you go on YouTube and you go on Instagram and you find people that already talk about this product, that already have the audience that you want to sell to. Again, we're looking for people, right? And we're not looking for product. We're looking for who is the person that can help you out. Now, you go to these people, and what we do is we give them the product, they review the product, they make a video about it. In the very beginning, we look for people that we don't have to pay. So they just, speak about the product in their videos. And we send all of those people then to a page that is not on Amazon. It's an off-page Amazon, okay? On that page, we offer a discount that then people can go to Amazon. 2 reasons why we do that. You might say, well, look, but if people have to hit another page in between, besides all the setup and technical stuff you need to learn,
Conversion rate goes down. But,
don't you lose people?
Yeah.
But the point is you want to have good people. Amazon has a conversion rate too. If you just send random people to your listing, that's not going to do good to you either. Like you want to have target people that will buy on your listing because that's going to help you. So we send all the people to that page. We give them a code, or we give the product away for free. We say, hey, we do a free giveaway, and it's a lot of manual work, but you basically collect all the data from people and say, okay, I need you to buy through this keyword. You message them. We go on Facebook Messenger, we message them and say, hey, you need to buy the product. Here's the keyword. Here's how you buy it. So you just type in the keyword and you look through the pages until you found our product and you buy. And then I refund you the money with PayPal. We look for people like that. So we borrow the influencer's trust to get us the right people that are willing to do that, basically, to a page. And then on that page, we get them into a messenger, or they get their email, and then we go back and forth with them in order for them to do it. That's one way to rank with it. The second
you need sales to get sales. So any sales you get is going to be beneficial. So I would endorse your strategy there. It's very well documented. Landing Cube does it, and many other platforms as well. So I'm good with that. Let's hear number 2.
Yeah, the next benefit on that is, let's talk about how Google and Facebook work, just in terms of advertisement, right? So in advertisement, basically, you have a pool of people that you advertise to. Let's say you wanna advertise to someone in the who's interested in playing guitar, right? So that's your pond of people, and you put your hook in it. You're fishing, right? You're fishing people out. And how the ads work is that depends on who bids the most, gets most hooks in the water, right? And the bigger the pond, the more fish, and the fewer advertisers, the cheaper it is. The smaller the pond, the more advertisers, the more expensive it is. The problem is you don't know how big is the pond when you just launch your ads. You have no idea. You don't know what your ads will cost, right? And basically where Facebook and Google are really, really good at is finding you the people that they've already seen before taking an action. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have people on your page that left their email address on your landing page, or that looked at your page, or that opted into Messenger. They took some sort of actions, right? So let's say you have this pool of people on your page and you get a few hundred people that just look at the page. They take certain actions and you divide them. These are the people that just look. These are the people that get in, right? So you at least have 2 metrics. And then when Facebook looks at
we know that they're divorced 3 times, truck drivers, and they would be good for mail order brides. Okay, I'm with you. You set up the demographics, lookalikes.
Correct. It's all lookalikes. Don't place cold ads. Like it's not. you may do that later once Facebook needs data. It's a data-driven company. Google the same way. So once they can look at people, then you might retarget people, meaning you might put ads in front of people that have already been on your page because that's cheap. Or then you build a lookalike audience of people that look like the people that already are likely to buy from you, right? Or likely to, that at least are interested in the product. Then you can slowly start with that. Again, the main thing is the combination of giveaways to rank. You need to have some system to rank.
Need orders to get orders. Yep.
You need orders to get orders. So it's easy for me to say that because we have a team of 6 that does nothing else, and they message people, and we have a Facebook bot in place now that guides people through all of that. But that's sophisticated stuff. Don't worry about that. If you're in a category where you the bestseller sells 20 a day, well, you might just need to give away 2 a day. And then you just start with that. To do 2 a day, maybe you need to have 8 people that opted in, right? To get 8 people a day, you just need to get consistent videos out there. So shift your focus on that. That is the influencer model. Just look for people that have, like, let's say, less than 20,000 followers, and that can do things just for either very little money or for free, right? That's where you want to go. And because they have the right people, they already have the people that trust them, that know them, that like them, and they can bring the people in. That is a lot more than saying, okay, well, I'm just going to place Facebook ads and I just want to be honest with that, because it doesn't work. Like, there's always the easy way to do things, and then there's the way that actually works and actually gets the result. And a lot of times we think that it's so easy, and we estimate the effort to be on a certain level. It's always 10 times more. It's just what it takes. It's if it would be so easy, then everyone would just do it, right? So maybe there's a little more to that.
That's the business mentality for sure. As people look at whether they want to put their toe in the water of Amazon, it's not a great last job of your life, right? Like, you want to go retire and find passive income. This is generally not a good career switch in your 60s. But it's fantastic for the 20s and the 30-year-olds and the 40-year-olds out there who might have a little bit to finance, put the effort in, and they're hungry. People that are hungry are going to succeed. So I think a lot of what you're defining is the execution of that hunger, and makes a lot of sense. All right. So last question for you here, and then we'll talk about how people can get in touch with you. What's the best thing you've learned? Like, if somebody could take 5 minutes of effort today, what would you tell them to do today?
To get a mentor.
Yeah, I love it.
To get a mentor. I have once I got my Chinese partner, and initially we came together, and I basically I got broke. I borrowed money from him. I worked for him a little bit, and I sold adult toys with him. So he has a brand was just toys, right? That he
got blackmail on him. Got it. Okay.
So and it was a lot of once I had him, and I asked him for investments. So I helped him initially with Amazon. I was like, look, you have all these products you already have, you're wholesaling them. Why don't we put them on Amazon? You have 20 products right there. Why don't we put them up? You pay me money so I can survive, and then you give me a commission on whatever we sell, right? So we put them up. Some did okay, win-win. 1 or 2 did good. The rest kind of didn't do it, because that's an all other. So you cannot have PPC on that. So you cannot advertise these things. So that's
really difficult category. Yeah.
And you have like all kinds of stuff. Anyway, once I had him, and I asked him for an investment eventually in my business and my companies and the things that we started. And he did. And eventually he ended up having to invest 3 times more, because I kind of didn't really know what I'm doing, and we blow a lot of money that was unnecessary. But anyway, after having him, right, I saw he comes in, he's there for the capital. That's the most important thing. As long as I have the money, I can figure the rest out. No, he probably cut out a decade of my journey. Like, honestly, 10 years that I would have taken to get where I am now, I would have probably needed 10 more years. Okay. Not because of I didn't know what to do, but because of the right mindset and the pushes and being held in the right direction. I give you a quick example, and then we can leave this off, right? So we work with a lot of people that we consult and teach and help to get their business up, because eventually our business model is that we get equity in someone else's business, and then we elevate them from a 6-figure to 7-figure level. So what we always start with is to help people like get started and just go get to the 6-figure level first, so we can make an offer, really. So selfishly we do that. But most of the people in that, I see the mistake is, let's say we coach them and they're like, okay, I'm ready to launch, I'm ready to put it out there, and then they don't pull the trigger. And it takes not a week. So it would just be like, okay, I put my ads live, right? It's one click, and it's technically, it's very easy. You know what to do, but it's the mental thing behind that. It's this, but what if it doesn't work? Maybe I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, and then next day you're like, shit, maybe, like, then pressure builds, right? So now you have more pressure, like, I didn't do it yesterday, what if it, no. And then a week goes by, a month goes by, 2 months goes by, and we have people like that we try to mentor.
You want to like pick up the phone and scream at them, just do it. Yeah.
Right. And it's just not getting, and the longer they wait, the longer it takes. So it takes 2 months for them. And then eventually they pull the trigger and it doesn't work. Oh shit. Now they're depressed. Now it takes 2 months to get back to just being able to go back to it. Where our mentality comes in, where I say, just fail fast, get it up there, see if it works. If it doesn't work, good. Just do the next thing. So that's 2 months saved, right? Of just, and there were a ton of those little moments where it's really just the mindset and the way to see things, and that sometimes you just need to. Sometimes I was too shy to ask for capital for something that just needed capital. Like we always think when we start out that it's so difficult. Like the money part is the most sensitive thing, and this is the most difficult part about the business, to get the money and then to spend the money in the right places. And for the experienced business owners, that's just a part of it. Like if I ask for an investment for a product now, whether I ask for $200,000 or $500,000, for the investors, it's the same thing. And before, I wouldn't have dared to ask for the higher amount. I was like, oh, let's do this and let's try to make it work.
Yeah.
Whereas the bigger amount would have been much, much better spent and placed. And now I have the confidence to do it. But that all has been built through mentorship and through training. So it doesn't mean. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great answer. You didn't just say, hey, go get a coach. You're like, get a mentor and here's 50 reasons why, right? Yeah. I also liked your comment about the finance, because like if money can solve something, it's not a problem, it's an expense. And so your articulation that it's just one part of the equation makes perfect sense to me. So that's great. Yeah. So I sounds like we could have you back on and talk about a bazillion other things too. But if somebody wants to get in touch with you, your message resonates with them, where should they go? How can they get in touch with you, and why should they contact you? And what kind of service can you help them with?
Yeah. So basically we help with, like I say, the goal that we always have is to say, okay, you're a 6-figure seller. We get an equity and we help you out with your supply chain. We get you credit with your supplier, and we get you from 6 to 7 figures. But obviously there aren't many people like that out there. So we like to start at a lower level and say, okay, when you're just starting out, we do mentorship. We can help you. We can source the product for you. We can do influencer marketing for you. We have a whole team of people that can do all kinds of different things. We can help you with Amazon. We can consult you. We can do things for you. Like there are so many things, but it really depends on you. Like I don't have a course to sell. I don't have anything like that where I can push you in and okay, you do your thing. And once a week you might get a Facebook Live that you share with another 100 people. We don't do this. So what we offer is always very unique. And because of that, I have 2 resources. One is to just book a call with us. So if you're interested in any of, you need help with sourcing, you want to have someone to source for you, or you want to have, you want advice, or you want to have coaching, and you want to have something that elevates you to the next level. I believe you could put a link in the description here, probably. People can go and book a call. If not, you just head over to easypeasycall.com. Okay. Because the company that we run is called Easy Peasy Ecom, and Easy Peasy Call is that you can book a call via that. Or if you want to learn more about the sourcing, maybe you're not there, maybe you don't need it right now, maybe you're not at the stage where you need it, and you want to learn more about the things that we touched on today, then I put a link to the web class that I need your help to post. And when that people can just join that web class, like I say, I'm not pitching a course in the end of it. It's knowledge for that. In the end of the day, I say, hey, now you know how to do it yourself. If you don't want to do it and you want to have us help you, just book a call, right? So, and then we speak about that, whether we are or whether we aren't the right fit for each other. So that's basically just heads up. That's how it works.
Your business model is eerily similar to ours. We always share our trade secrets openly. We answer all the problems and questions we can on free videos and content. And you also have some content out there, which is great. We'll link to that as well.
Right, I forgot that I have a YouTube channel too.
Yeah. So, and what's the name of the YouTube channel?
It's Easy Peasy Ecom.
Perfect. So I'll put links in the description as well. I really appreciate you coming on and just bearing your soul and talking about sourcing and all of the value you've added today. Thank you so much.
I appreciate your time, Stephen. We should do that again. And what a great interview. Thank you for asking great questions.
This was the My Amazon Guy podcast with Stephen Pope. Each episode helps you grow your sales on Amazon through ideas on traffic and conversion rate improvements. Hit that subscribe button right now to tune in each week. And if you need more help, go to myamazonguy.com.